All right, before you take today's quiz, I want to do a problem that's going to be similar to today's quiz with you, for you, and make sure you understand it because we just learned about one sample proportion testing yesterday. Okay, so here you should have this worksheet printed and at your side to start working on. If you have not, then pause me and go take care of getting that until you can, and then come back. All right, so we're going to continue on with significant testing for a proportion. And here's your problem. We're going to do a two-sided test this time. We did one-tailed yesterday, I believe. So Benford's law and fraud, when the accounting from this name of this company audits a company's financial record for fraud, they often use a test called based on Benford's law. Okay. Benford's law states that the distribution of first digits in many real-life sources of data is really not uniform. In fact, when there is no fraud, about 30.1% of the numbers in financial records begin with the digit 1. However, if the proportion of first digits that are a 1 is significantly different from two-tailed, that 0.301, then we know that there could be fraud. Okay. So suppose, something seems all weird the writing here, sorry about that. Suppose that a random sample of 300 expenses from a company's financial records results in only 68 expenses that begin with the digit 1. Should this company do a more thorough investigation of the company for fraud? So carry out a significance test at the 05 level to help answer this question. So do your state, plan, do conclude in a sketch. Again, it's a two-tailed test on a proportion. Check your conditions and see, let me see how you did. All right, you've had a chance to do some work on this. Check, I've highlighted here so you can find it easier. You have the ho and the ha, hopefully from the problem there. Remember, it's a two-tailed test. Our parameter is the proportion of expenses that begin with the digit 1. Okay, so we've got proportion in there as our parameter, and population are the digits, the expenses. Okay, all right, so plan, we're doing a one sample Z test for proportion. SRS was given. You ran your normal condition NP, n times 1 minus P, using P null, and they're both greater than 10. And our large number test for independence is 300 times 10 is 3,000. That is less than all of the expenses handled by the company. We're having to assume that. Okay. I calculated P hat to be 0.227, and there you'll see my test statistic, doing your estimated minus your hypothesized value divided by the standard error using P null. I get this T statistic. It's two-tailed, so when you get your p-value, you times it by 2. I did off on the side calculate my standard error to help this denominator here is right here to help me know how to mark off my sketch. If you did it in a calculator, you got 0.005 very similar, just more exact. Okay, so now we can run our conclusion because our p-value is definitely less than 0.05. We're going to reject HO. We have statistically significant evidence that the proportion of expenses that begin with the digit 1 differs from 0.301. So this company does need to be investigated further for potential fraud. Anything that was different than that could be fraud. Okay, we have our sketch here of the P in the middle. Since it's two-tailed, here's my P hat over on this side. You need to shade equal distance from 0.227 to 0.301 right there. Should come this way as well. Equal distant from P hat to P null. And then where you shade here is the same distance as from P hat to P null, but on this side. Okay. My SE was 0.00265, I believe, if I could read that well. And there we go. Okay. Now, let's go to the back of this worksheet. The confidence interval gives us some more information. Okay, so now I want you to construct a 95% CI for P Remember now, we don't use P null in the formula, we use P hat. And then let's explain how the connection is between the the confidence interval and the significance test. I did this in your notes yesterday for one of your homework problems, and I need you to do it here again. Okay. And then it asks you to describe the type 1 error and type 2 errors in context. On your quiz today, you're going to need to do that as well. Then it says which is the more serious mistake or error in this case. So work on a CI real quick and then type 1 and type 2 errors and come back and check with me. Okay, let's take a look at the CI. There's my work for it. If you plugged in your values, you can check the work. This should be our CI. When we look at this, I don't see 0.301 in it. So since 0.301 is not, 30.1 is not in this interval, we're going to reject HO. I can do this because it's two-sided. We always need to state that. I can make that decision because it's two-sided. So, our way we would write our conclusions before is we are 95% confident the true proportion of expenses with first digit as a 1 is between 17.96 and 27.44%. So we're looking at this and go, how does that compare? Well, that 0.301 is not in here at the 5% level. We're rejecting HO and making the same conclusion that we made up here. We have the exact same conclusion that they should be investigated further for fraud. Okay, what about your type 1 and type 2 errors in context? Again, can't mention enough how many times my webinar today that I just finished earlier, the writers are saying if you don't put context, you are going to lose points and maybe not even get some points. So we've got to say what it means. They're saying since, especially on this test being where you have open book and open notes, they are looking that you know how to interpret things that you can't just look up in the book. You have to understand what it means. So we're going to reject the HO when HO is true when we have a type 1 error. So that here means that these auditors are rejecting HO if they do, and they're going to do a very thorough investigation of the company when they didn't need to, right? So that's going to cause a lot of money and stress on the company, a lot of money to run the audit, special audit, if we do a type 1, make a type 1 error. If we made a type 2 error where we failed to reject HO when the HA is true, this is going to mean the editors will not do a more thorough investigation, even though there really is or should be suspicion for fraud. They're not going to go check it out, right? The company is going to be happy, but the fraud will go undetected. So, it depends on what you want to say, but this is definitely, I didn't ask you who to say it was more serious for. So in my mind, this is more serious for customers and for the auditing company who did a poor job of auditing. So the customers are going to continue to be frauded, and the auditing company's reputation is bad. Now, for the company itself, they're happy, right? All right. So that's enough. Take a look at that. Make sure you're ready and studied, and go take the quiz.